Hi, everyone. My name is Jamari Moore, and we're back with another episode 13 of the Couch Experts podcast. Welcome back. We have my co host, Zane Alley, in the building. Zane, how are you feeling today?
Good, man. I'm good. Just, another busy week, but excited to talk a little ball with you and yeah, get the show going. How about you, man?
Good week overall. Yeah, lot of ball, a lot of things that happened this weekend. The thing that's keeping me afloat the most right now is a very close, narrow Bears win against the Vikings. So for at least the moment, it keeps us at first in the division. I don't know what the outcome of the Lions and Eagles game is at this point, but yeah, that's what's keeping me going right now. Uh there's been a
I
lot of
gotta
stuff that's
ask
been
you.
happening outside of that though. What's up?
I gotta ask you. Is JJ McCarthy? Is he good or no? I can't decide. He makes some good throws, and then he makes some ones where I'm like, what's going on?
That is the $1,000,000 question. I want to bank on no. I've just seen I've seen a little bit from him in little spurts, but I'm just not seeing it consistently enough to definitively say he's good. So, maybe
Well,
okay, but he's good at handing the ball off.
just which is all they asked him to do at Michigan. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, I don't know, man. We saw Sam Darnold with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Kevin O'Connell look amazing. And I'm sitting here kind of like, I know he's a rookie, right? He's young. I guess we got
Mhm.
to give him that, but I don't know, man. I just feel like you win a national title at Michigan, you're probably a step ahead of where most rookies should be anyway. So I don't
Right.
know.
He's a fellow Chicago kid, and
Oh, is he? I didn't know
yeah,
that.
Chicagoland area. He would have loved to be a Bears fan for sure, but yeah, I don't know. I think that the system that Kevin O'Connell has in place, it works. You've seen it last year. It's just him finding his stride and continuing to grow and just be consistent, right? And that's something consistency can be really hard for young players. I mean, if you watch that game, he missed a lot of open throws. There was some drops there, but he found his stride at the end and started to pick it up, but it was a little bit too late at that point. So we'll see what happens because they're a good football team. They have a lot of talent on the roster and they have great coaches. So it's really just figuring out the quarterback at this point.
Yeah, yeah, getting him figured out well. And then you never know, like, if he's not the guy, I feel like that's a team that can go get Jameis Winston and still win 9, 10 games, you know what I'm saying? So,
Love
I
Jameis. I love just seeing his pregame speeches, his post on X or Instagram. That's somebody I would love to actually meet and be around and
dude,
just spend a day with him.
if we could get if we get Jameis on the couch for an episode, dude, oh my gosh, that would
That
be
would be
wild.
amazing.
That would be
That would
wild.
be amazing. Episode 13 is where we drop the seed.
Yeah, right here, this is where we want you, Jameis, so,
Yeah.
little hole in the wall Wyoming sports podcast, but that would be phenomenal.
So while we're on just the pros at this point, right? Last week, I think we were talking a little bit of the NBA stuff with the gambling scandal, and there has been some. How would you say updates? Would you say it's been a development,
Development probably.
some type of development here? Basically, with all the investigations that's been going on with this massive gambling scandal with the NBA, they have now, and the league, I should say, has started their investigation or maybe just cooperation with the whole thing by asking certain teams to give up their cell phone, including
Mhm,
the Lakers, right? I seen something that said like at least 10 or 11 players off the Lakers.
mhm.
So, what have you seen with that, or what do you know about that? Because that is it's pretty wild.
Basically, that's about it, right? It's really general right now. I think kinda like Kate was telling us right now, it could be something minimal, it could just be as simple as they were doing something innocent, like they told a friend, "Hey, I'm gonna be out this week," or like a friend asked, "Hey, are you gonna play Thursday?" And they're like, "Ah, no, I'm fighting with an ankle," and they don't realize that can turn into an inside betting situation. But I don't know, man. This is gonna be. I mean, they're already banned from sports gambling, but we're gonna see like a huge lockdown of players being able to just I don't even know what they're gonna do, but they're gonna have to try to lock it down at this rate because this is at the college level and the pro level.
No, yeah, it's insane. I remember, when the first time we talked about it with the episode with Kate, one of the things that we were talking about was, Lakers players being involved as far as, I'm trying to forget I'm blanking on his name. I'll have to, pull up his name, but it was a player on the Lakers that was on the team. It was when Darvin Ham was there, and at
Was it
some
Terry?
point. Huh?
Was it Terry Rozier
No, not Terry Rozier. It was,
mm,
I'm blanking on his name.
when Ham
Ah,
was
it's on the
there?
tip of my tongue. We'll have to look this up, but this player being on record, or it's been alleged that he was a part of this scheme along with Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, and LeBron's name got mentioned as far as getting information maybe from LeBron to place some bets or to spread that information. Not saying that LeBron knew, but I think that that might be a connection with the Lakers being mentioned, and so we'll have to see what happens. But I was listening to this one clip from a podcast, I'm forgetting the name, but they basically had these professional poker players on the set, and when they were speaking, they talked about how it was crazy that people would hear about this poker game that was happening either in, like, California or Nevada, and it was involved with Chauncey Billups. It was, like, being
Mhm,
promoted that way, and
mhm,
so, of course, some of these professional players are gonna be skeptical, but some of them go,
mhm.
and for some strange reason, all of these professionals are somehow losing, and these random guys that's just showing up just so
Yeah.
happen to be winning and placing bets or making moves in poker that just wouldn't be logical. So they're like, there's definitely a lot of cheating there. They said this like a couple years ago. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that this is only the beginning. And look, I don't know how Adam Silver did it, but he's definitely got a lot of attention on the NBA. I think right now it's going to be a story that everybody's paying attention to, and people just be watching basketball more just by hearing the NBA's name come up. But I think long term, it's gonna have it's gonna be some significant damage that's happening with just sports betting, prop bets. It's gonna be a lot there where, man, I mean, just future NBA businesses from a global standpoint, international investment. So we'll be on the lookout for sure, man. I think that's pretty wild. Yeah. But a lot of crazy stuff that's happening in sports. But we've uh we've stalled long enough. We gotta talk about the elephant in the room right now. Uh, Wyoming. We Wyoming versus Fresno State. We fell 24-3. Zane, let's hear it, man. Let's call it how it is, right? This is a safe space.
Defensively, for 3 quarters, we looked phenomenal, man. We had 9 tackles from Evan Eller, 9 tackles from Braden Johnson, and 9 tackles from Jones Thomas. Unfortunately, when your safety, Jones Thomas, is one of your 3 leading tacklers, you kinda know right there that the game did not go the way you wanted it to go. And Samuel Toad Harris had 12 carries for 96. So, we're just gonna keep it with the optimism, man. We everything we wanna say about this game that is negative, we have said time and time again. Excuse me. I think the worst part of this game,
Mhm.
45 minutes of possession for Fresno, 14 minutes and 57 seconds for Wyoming. They had the ball 3 times more than us. It's just I mean, things we've been saying all year, man. Things we've been saying all year. We officially moved into the worst offensive team in the Mountain West after this last game. We were ranked 12th out of 12. at 17.8 points per game. So we've kind of moved into the situation where the defense, well, not moved into a situation. We're just stuck in this situation where the defense has played lights out until the fourth quarter. But again, they did their job for as long as they could. You can't expect them to hold them to 10 points for the entirety of the game if you're not playing complementary footballs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. At the end of the day, if you keep having to kick the ball away without getting any points, the more opportunities teams have, the more likely they are to score. So I think the game showed that where the defense held up most of the time, and at some point they're going to score points, right? They have more time, more possessions. The quote stand out to me. It was from the head coach Jay Savell. Shout out to him. He said, "We didn't give ourselves a real good chance tonight. We made too many mistakes in critical situations." Then he added, "We've got to coach better, and that's the bottom line." That stood out to me, and I'm going to tell you why. As the first half ended, there was a scene that was cut to where it's this beautiful picture of OC having the whole team around them and getting after them. Like, as a player, and when you see that picture, there's an important conversation that's happening in that moment. Those are moments that you remember from games. There's a lot of plays that you might forget, there's plays that you remember, but those moments on the sideline, it looked like the whole team was there, and you just saw how fired up he was. Then, the start of the 3rd quarter. What happens? You guessed it, false start. So, right there, I think that when that happened, that told me all I needed to know, because what that suggests is that there is maybe been some type of culture in the locker room or amongst players that has probably been there for a while, and it's getting to the point where people are now, like, in either panic mode, or people are now on edge to the point where things are gonna start to fall apart. I think is really I'm really happy they showed that moment, because the culture building takes time, and I think that you've seen growth in certain areas, but we've been shooting ourselves in the foot all season. It's not like the coaches don't say that.
Since game 2, dude. Yeah.
And
Yep.
so I think that the end of this season and then going into the beginning of next season, I think will be the start of the fine tuning and reshaping of that culture, because what that tells me is that maybe there were things that were sliding, or maybe things were a little bit more lax. I don't know, right? I can't guarantee that, right? But what
Mhm.
that tells me is that, hey, we need to hold these guys more accountable for the smallest things, right? Because yeah, man, he was if you're listening, you gotta look up this clip or this moment, right? It was right after the first half. Then the
Mhm.
start, right? Then you have the locker room thing, right? Then they start the 3rd quarter with a false start. So, man, I just think that at this point, it's probably a wake-up call for a lot of people in that locker room, because if you think we're frustrated, you gotta imagine to be an actual player, be an actual coach. So yeah, so I'm very interested to see how next week is gonna be and how it turns out, because obviously playing at home, it feels really good. Fans are usually always supportive, and it's a big day for the state. And so a win here would be really, really important for next week. When I'm bringing up, Zane, this I guess I would say this underlying or between the lines thing where you have a false start to enter a half. Were there anything you were seeing that, whether it was body language, play calling, just anything that you saw that kinda shared that sentiment that things are just not clicking.
I agree with you. I think with Jay Johnson, you've gotta have a different it's probably a night and day culture between Jay Johnson and Javon Bonite, just from what you did see when that cut from the half, right? Because he was getting after the team. He was pissed. I mean, point blank, he was not happy, and he had every right to be that. Last week against San Diego State, we scored and immediately had a short yardage situation to score again and go up 2 scores. We had penalties that backed us up out of that area, and then we never scored. This game, we kicked the field goal, got a short, immediately turned around, got a short field, and could have scored, gone up 10-7. We had 40 yards worth of penalties on 5 plays after we got that short field. 40 yards in 5 plays. So that right there is why Javon Bonite was pissed. And then to come back out after the half and immediately have another offensive holding call, which don't get me wrong, Fresno has a really good defensive front. We saw that in the first series. They were getting after us. And so I think the offensive line, they were probably trying to get away with a little bit to try to not get Caden Anderson killed. But at the end of the day, man, it's just we've been struggling with these penalties for a while. I think you're right. It does take time for that culture to be established and for things to get going. I really hope that Javon Bonite is still around because I like to see that type of fire from an offense. And you know it from coaching, and I know it from coaching. Sometimes that's just what a team needs. Some teams need you to go easy on them. Some teams need you to get on them. And I think right now with this offense, we're last in the Mountain West. You got to try something new. And so Javon Bonite obviously was like, you know what? I'm gonna just lay into these guys and see how they respond. They maybe didn't respond correctly this game, but Nevada's a brand new game, like you said. The fans are going to be behind them. It's sold out. It's standing room only against Nevada right now for a team that has not been playing well. So they're going to have fan support behind them. They need to capitalize on it and build on that momentum.
Yeah, man. I hear what you're saying. I think that when it comes to different styles of coaching, I think at a level that we're at where it's this level of competition in college football, no matter who you play, the margin for error is very small. And when you think about the competition you have from a recruiting standpoint and how hard it is to compete with some of these larger schools, there's no type of room for any type of leniency. But I think the hard part in that is players need to be coachable at the same time. And from the people I've talked to with a lot of the changes with transfer portal and NIL, the mentality where players are not the same in what they used to. So if a coach does coach you hard and you don't like it, I'm probably go somewhere else
Mhm.
and, take this other offer. And so I think that definitely makes coaches have to question how they approach it. I don't know what those conversations are like um or what those type of conversations are happening right now, but I think that I just like that it is happening. And I think
Mhm.
that when you go off of these comments that Salvel made, I think he's also at the point where we need to make sure we're on our guys, we're on our players. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I think that a home win next week will cushion a little bit, right? Like, I think as we get close to the end of the season, I think that that's gonna be something that makes people feel really good. I really do.
You can forgive a lot with a couple of wins for sure.
So, do you have anything else with this game, man? I mean, it's like a lot of it I feel like is pretty redundant.
Mhm.
But is there anything else you got with this game?
No, I mean, my only concern, man, as we start to wrap out this season, and it's crazy to think how we wrapped out the season. Which shout out to the defense again. They did phenomenal, right? Florentine, I don't know if you got to see that play. He had a grown man bull rush. He pancaked this. I don't know if it was the guard or the center on his way to a fourth down stop. He was a monster. Jaden Williams on the D line had a great game. I mean, defense was everywhere. But as we close out the season, I look at our young guys, the young talent, especially on the offense, and I start to worry a little bit when you're ranked last in the Mountain West, but you do have these bright spots about if they're even going to stick around, which obviously I don't want to speculate, but this is the transfer portal age. Is that something we need to start thinking about, or do you think that's too early in the season?
Well, it can happen at any time, really. I think
Mhm.
a way to look at it from both sides of the coin is that NAL has basically created a free agency market because there's players at bigger schools that may just have a ton of good players and guys want more time because they want more film. So they can be properly evaluated to go to the NFL or some other professional league. So while we might have players that are developing and players that are playing really well that could say, hey, I want to play on a different team. I got some good film. There's also opportunities for us to see who's in the transfer free agency portal, right?
Mhm.
And find guys there, So that's something we've seen before the past couple of seasons, and so that's always gonna be a possibility. Um, and I think that is the plus of, you know, being able to have people come out from these bigger schools. So I think that it's never too
Defense.
early. Yeah.
Our whole defense basically came from the portal this year. Or a lot of our rotational starters came from the portal this year, and they were smaller school guys, which I think is cool because you can give those D2 guys and JUCO guys a shot at this Division 1 level, and they can thrive with it. So,
Yeah.
um, no, man, that's pretty much all I got. It's the same thing we've been saying all season, unfortunately. I am excited to see Javon in that fire, like you said, because we know Jay Johnson, more of a quiet guy, at least with the media, definitely a quiet guy. That doesn't necessarily mean that translates to the locker room, but introverts tend to be introverted, so you could expect a certain amount of that. So it was cool to see, but that's pretty much all I got.
That's cool with me, man. So then we move on, right? We move on to Nevada. What could you tell us about Nevada? Just their season. What should we expect? Your initial thoughts.
So Nevada has not been they haven't been a good football team by any stretch, but then this last week they beat San Jose State 55-10. They were currently last in points per game in the Mountain West. Like I said, they're 10th in the Mountain West at 18.1. We're at 17.8. Defensively, they're 8th. Wyoming moved down to 3rd defensively. By on paper, Wyoming should win this game, right? But you look at this San Jose State game that they just came out of, and they were extremely efficient in the passing game. Their quarterback was 16 for 19, 195 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I don't know. It kind of feels like maybe Nevada's offense is getting it figured out at a time where Wyoming is really struggling. At the very least, we're at home and it's going to be a big game and it's going to be a big crowd. So we should have some momentum behind us.
I think it starts with belief.
Hmm.
If you have the belief that you'll win a game, your chances to actually win go up significantly. It might not guarantee a win, but the reason I speak to belief it is because when I go back to my point about the culture that exists, I've been on the team where there's this mentality of, "Hey, we have to not lose the game versus go win." And I don't like and what I mean by that is not to say that we don't have the intention to win, but it's like, "Hey, I hope, our offense can score, or I hope our defense can get a stop." It's like, "No, we will get a stop. We
Hmm.
will score," right? I think that there's a lot of guys that I've been around that's always had that mentality of, "Hey, we're gonna win this." But I've also been in situations where it didn't always feel that way, and each year it's a different team, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah,
And so
1000%.
you wanna be able to believe that you can win even when there's adversity. And I think that really mature and well-coached teams are able to do that, but it takes time to build that too. That's a lot of people talk about championship DNA, it takes time to develop. And I think that it can be really hard to develop or establish a culture if there's high turnover. So, going back to just the last point, hoping that at this point in time, that can start to set in because, like you said, on paper, this should be a winnable game. But man, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You saw that what happened this last game with San Jose, and if you put it this way, take my point with belief. Right now, Nevada is looking at us like, yeah, we got this one. Like they're looking at us like, yeah, this is another dub on our calendar, right?
Mhm.
I know how it is. Players don't wanna say it out loud, but people have that thought in their head like, "Oh, yeah, we should beat this team." There's not a, "We hope we beat them. Hey, maybe we can beat them." People look at the schedule and say, "Yes, that is a dub." It's not popular to say, it's not a thing people really say out loud like that, but there's an undertone in how you even talk about it. And so I
Mhm.
bring that up because you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. I don't sure we have done anything for anybody at this point in time to look at the schedule and say, "Yeah, we this is gonna be a big one. Like, we have to like, this is gonna be a really hard game." I don't think people look at us like that, and I think if I'm being honest, I think that's, like, half true because I think these games are closer because when you do that, when you do too much of the, "Yeah, I know we can beat this team," you basically just underestimated them. You never wanna underestimate your opponent. That's just like a general thing. You never wanna underestimate your opponent. That's why players don't really say it out loud because there's gonna be somebody with experience, whether it's a coach or a player that say, "Hey, we can't overlook this." So, I think it's half true because I think people overestimate or underestimate, excuse me, I think people underestimate how competitive we are and especially our defense, right? Like, I think people underestimate that because of our schedule or our offensive struggles that we can still win football games. But the part that I feel like isn't there is that, I mean, we're losing games, we're not scoring, we're not moving the ball. Our guys get tired on defense, right? We might have missed tackles that have like, there's just things that happen where it then gives into the idea that, "Hey, this is a dub on a lot of people's schedule." So, I don't know, man. What do you think, right? Like, as a fan, do you do that same thing? Like, "Hey, we definitely should beat these people on paper?"
Yeah, I mean, I look at Nevada as, you're always looking for bowl eligibility, right? You can base a lot off of bowl eligibility. So I always look at as a fan, all right, what do we need to do to get to 6 games? And one of my have to wins was last night against Fresno for us to get to bowl eligibility because I do look at some other teams and I think, okay, those are tough games. But you are right, right? You've got to have that belief in your team and the belief that they can go out there and do the impossible even if they are an underdog. What I will say now, Wyoming, what do you have to lose? You know what I mean? This is a Saturday game. It's going to be a sold out crowd against a team that honestly are better than and you should play better than. I just want these guys to start having fun, man. Like I feel like we're just at a point, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe they put so much pressure on themselves, and the fans are putting so much pressure on them. Like you ain't got nothing to lose, man. Like we just put up 3 points in a college football game. I hope they just go out there and have fun and try to shake things up. And like you said, I um, just have a little bit of belief in themselves and belief in the team in general.
I agree. You know what's the frustrating part about all this, Zane? It's like, it's not like we can't win. It's not like we don't have guys. It's not like we don't have guys. So, there's
Look
a
at that
lot of talented
CSU game,
athletes on the
man.
team.
Look at
Yes.
that CSU game. Like, that game right there, it looked like we were gonna win a Mountain West championship. It really did after that game. Obviously, I'm blowing that way out of proportion, but
Hey,
Chris
he's talking
Durr.
about Mountain West.
But, Chris Durr, Samuel Toad Harris, Dion DeBlanc, all these young guys that can just move the rock. There is there's no reason we shouldn't be. I'm not gonna go crazy and say the number 1 offense in the Mountain West, but we shouldn't be 12. Like, there's absolutely no reason that we should be 12 at all.
I agree with that, man. I think that when we look at it, I think this is a good matchup. There's no reason why we can't come out on top this week, right? Looking at Russian defense, Wyoming 7th, Nevada 6th, so right next to each other. Passing defense, you got Wyoming 4th and Nevada 6th, right? So we're very close statistically. Turnover margin, right? Uh, Nevada's dead last, so there's opportunities. And again, we're our turnover margin is -4, but I really do think that if we can at least, at the very least, have good field position, be sound on special teams, and not turn the ball over, we can win this game. I think it might not be a blowout like people would want, but I think we can win if we just control the game, control the line of scrimmage, offensively, right?
I'll settle for even less. I will settle for n Dude, I'll settle for no holding calls after you make a good decision. I'm serious, that's where I'm at. If you get yourself in a short yardage situation and you don't get a holding call, I will be through the roof. That's where I'm at. Like, I'll take 3 points all day. That's where I'm at with this offense. Um, and
You
I
take
think
3
you're
points
sorry to cut you
today.
off, but that's
No,
just
you're
where I'm
good,
at.
man.
That's just where I'm at. I'm
That's
like, I'm so
hilarious.
frustrated with that.
Yeah, man. I think that if we're able to control the line of scrimmage, not turn the ball over, we'll be fine. I think we'll be all right. Because at this point, you said it earlier, there's nothing to lose, right? We kind of understand where we are as a team right now. Yeah, I think that it's I think I would want more than 3 points. I would
Oh,
want more than 3 points.
I just mean 3 points a drive, dude. That's where I'm at. Come away with something.
I think what you saw in the CSU game is what most football fans feel the best or really good about their team is when you feel like your offense is a big part of why you won.
Mhm.
You know, I think that good teams, great teams find more than one way to win. They can win it during special teams, they can win it through defense, offense, right? And it doesn't sometimes one just plays really well that kind of makes up for the losses you might have in other 2 phases of the game.
Mhm.
And so I think what's frustrating is that you're just not seeing enough games being won because of offense. A win's a win, right? Like people are gonna take a win, but as so it being because of offense, and that's why that CSU game felt the way it did, because the offense
We
showed
had
up.
a
Like, yeah,
we had a defensive touchdown and a special teams touchdown and 2 offensive touchdowns, right? So
I think so.
everybody contributed, I think is how the CSU game went. Yeah.
So it's like you feel the best when firing on all cylinders is just a dominant game. I mean, seeing that consistently is like because usually,
It's rare.
like, you have to be like, there's teams out there that are dominant like that, but it's hard to.
Mhm.
It's very hard to have that. So
It's
that's why
rare.
you're okay with
Yeah.
2 out of 3 or even 1 just like it's like when that fantasy player just goes nuts. It's happened to me this week. I played, my buddy Paul Palamato, shout out to him and his wife, they just had a baby. He had Josh, and so, the Buccaneers game was a crazy one, and,
It's a great game.
Josh yeah, Josh alone on his team cooked me this week, so,
Yeah.
yeah, but my so, yeah, I think that to make this game and make fans feel better, I think, yes, win. Think that's just bottom line, a win will feel good, but I think people will feel better if this win was because the offense played well, not
Mhm.
because Defense just had a bunch of takeaways, not because special team, we had a bunch of returns, because the most sustainable way of scoring is through offense.
Mhm.
Defense and special teams, to rely on that every week to score is not sustainable because their that's not the purpose of those units. Well, to an extent, special teams, but specifically defense, the goal isn't to score touchdowns all the time. That's like a bonus or a plus, but it's to get off the field. Special teams, field position. We want to be able to push the other opponent back, or hey, they're kicking to us. We want to be able to have a good return. If you can get a touchdown every time, yes, you want to plan for it, but that's not realistic. So I think that if the offense is a big reason why we win this Saturday, then I think people will feel much better about the win if we won because they were just that much worse than us.
No, I agree. I agree. And just to put this in perspective, man, so you said we were -4 in the turnover margin, right?
I think so.
Offensively, we have 6 fumbles lost and we have 11 interceptions. So we have 17 turnovers on offense. If you take away even half of those, we're +3 in the turnover margin. So, like you said, yeah, I would love to have the offense be a bigger contributor, but honestly, I'm at the point where if the offense could just not be a liability, I
Right.
think this
Not
game
turn the
is
ball over. That's a
very
more
winnable.
realistic. Interceptions will happen. I
Yeah.
understand that. But the fumbling is one that I think is like good teams don't fumble the football. It happens every once in a while, but not that much. Again, interceptions will happen, but the
Yeah. No,
fumbles
I
are just
agree.
not. And it's
Yeah.
not to say
And
interceptions are good either, but I mean, just
no, it's just
sometimes
part of it.
defensive, they're gonna make a good play. It might be a tip, right? Like it just so many things can lead to an interception. So it's like
Mhm.
there's some
Fun.
interceptions where it's an interception in stat sheet, but it's like,
And
all
it
right,
wasn't on the
it
quarterback.
just happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
fumbling, no.
Yep. Yep. Hold on to the rock. So, no, man, that's just where I'm at with them. Is it's you just need something, anything out of the offense. I'm not asking for you to score a touchdown on every play, but if especially in short yardage situations, if we can at least come away with 3, it just mentally and emotionally for the defense, it's got to be even that much better to say, okay, they got 3. You know what I mean? And to be able to look at the scoreboard and look that, yeah, be
It's
able to look at
sad,
the
man,
scoreboard and know that you at least have a smaller margin it, to build some momentum. So that's just where I'm at with.
but I hope for a fun day, a noon game. Do you like noon games? What time of games do you like?
Well, I mean, I don't know. If I was in college, I love a night game. Now that I'm old and especially because I got responsibilities, I think a noon game would be nice. You get home a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit earlier. You can still get some stuff done and do stuff like that. But if I was in college, night game, 1000%.
Could
So
you
much
ex
fun.
could you explain to me how I always wondered why all of the noon games usually are, like, in the beginning of the season, and then the night games are later, like, later in the season, I mean,
Mhm.
because it's freezing at this time of year, or it's getting there, so I'm always like, "Why aren't noon games always around this time later in the season?" But
I don't know. I feel like it's all about TV scheduling and, like, I don't know, like, Wyoming, especially when you played, we were good, like, they didn't know if we were gonna be good till later in the season, so maybe they flexed us in the night? I don't know.
yeah, I
'Cause
don't know.
I
Oh,
remember that too. I remember that too, a lot of our early games were earlier, but I feel like Wyoming's had a lot of late games this year,
yeah, I know. And so I
so that's
always just wonder
interesting.
that because I'm like, to me as a fan in Wyoming, I know there's a bunch of other moving parts that would answer this question that I'm proposing, but I'm so happy that this game this weekend is at noon because
Well, the
those
sun will
night
be
games
out.
are brutal. Like
Oh
for
my
temperature
gosh.
wise, at this time of year in November, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I was curious about that. But night game, there is something about a night game, the atmosphere, the lights. It's something about the lights. I don't know, just even the lights coming on. So,
Sounds like
I
you're
get
just
what you're
not
saying with
drinking
the
enough,
night games,
man.
though. What'd you say?
Sounds like you're just not drinking enough, man. You need to just
Um,
go get some more of those $8 beers, dude. It'll be fine.
I gotta, be able to drive from the game, so maybe so again, it's good that it's, earlier, but I'm excited for the game, and obviously, for those of you who don't know, the reason why this game is probably earlier and why we say this is an important game is because Bills quarterback, MVP quarterback Josh Allen is coming back to retire his jersey. It's a pretty big deal for the community, the state, the program because drafted 7th overall, first round in 2018. Some people had questions about if he was really the player that we claimed and he claimed that he was. And, people that have critiques like he didn't play in a strong conference and, what was his record versus teams who were not in the Mountain West and these, bigger conferences. And anybody that's watched him, been around him, his work ethic, like there was nothing in question. And so, just somebody that's played with him for a couple years and being around him, I'm just happy that he's finally gotten the recognition and you know, them putting him in the conversations that he deserved to be in, and I mean, he doesn't really care about any of that, but he doesn't care about it. He just wants to win games, and it probably motivates him even more, to be honest. But I just, as somebody that is just had been around him for a little bit and just knowing the type of person he is, I'm really excited about it. And whether I see him for like a couple seconds or much longer, not at all. I just am happy that this is happening because again, it means a lot to probably him and his family. It means a lot to his teammates, the community. So that's something, man, I'm really looking forward to not just seeing him, but the environment. Like I'm in Denver and the people that we're going with, we gotta plan to leave early because I cannot imagine. Can you imagine Laramie? What it's gonna look like?
Dude, it's been sold out for a minute. Like,
It's going to be
it's gonna be
insane.
nuts. Yeah,
It's gonna
and they
be
were
insane.
I guess they were saying, on the 7220 podcast, Cody Tucker, the press box, you get a press badge and you get to
Yeah.
go up to the press box and stuff like that, and Cody Tucker and 7220 Sports and those guys, normally it's, them and, like, probably 14 other reporters. They were saying on their podcast, they don't have any press passes left. Like, this is gonna be reporters from all over the country. I think it's gonna be a super exciting thing for Wyoming general, man. I'm so jealous that you get to go. I hope you have so much fun.
Oh, man. There's guys that's coming back into town. I've been speaking to a lot of people that's gonna be there. Um, and yeah, man, I look forward to just going back and being up there too. There's a lot of good people that work out there. Shout out to Tom Berman, Peter Priddy. There's just a ton of guys and people part of the organization that it's just you build really strong connections, and that's the part that does give me hope about the next season because you do work with a lot of good people up there. Like there's a lot of good people that work there. Good, honest, hardworking people that are passionate about football. And football is like that town. But before we close out, I just wanted to maybe cover a little bit some other Wyoming sports. Wyoming basketball, that start to the season, yeah?
Yep, 4-0. Oh, first time we've done that in a long time.
What so they just played Portland, right?
Yep,
Okay, they just played Portland when what I'm seeing here is 93-56, which is a large margin, but
yep.
with
Kick some butt.
to be to be honest, if I'm seeing this right, it just doesn't make sense to me. It says that only 3,428 fans were in attendance on Saturday.
On Saturday night, we only had 3,400 people in the arena auditorium.
Full 4-0 start. That's something when I'm up there this weekend, I'm gonna ask people about it. Like, hey, what's going on here? Because
It
it's
blows my
electric.
mind.
Like I don't know. It's
Well,
a
and they
great time.
like you said, the staff works hard, man. They usually, like, are giving something away or you know what I mean? It's always a good environment, so that shocks me to only be at 3,400, and to make matters worse, the Mountain West, and I'm assuming other conferences do, but the Mountain West keeps track of attendance rankings.
Oh, I
We're
didn't know
we're
that.
9th out of 12 in the
Who
Mountain
do
West.
wait, so we're ninth. I didn't know they actually did that. That's actually a cool metric.
Yeah, they keep track of it. We're 9th. We're just ahead of Fresno, Air Force, and San Jose State.
Jesus.
Wyoming fans. San Jose State doesn't have any fans, so you automatically get to 11th right there. But we should be well above Fresno and Air Force. Like, we're just 2 spots ahead of them. We should be towards the top, I would argue, in the Mountain West, so that we're towards the top in football, and that's a way bigger stadium.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we might be dropping the ball on that one. I remember, like I remember going to games even if we weren't good. Even if we weren't doing well, like, it was always cool to go and support. I don't know if it was just because maybe we knew some of the players personally, so, we wanted to go a little bit more, but even where it got to the point in the season or in my career, I was pretty much on my way out, and a lot of basketball players are younger or transfers, people I didn't know. I still went to the games. It was like just, I don't know. So that surprises me. I don't know if there's, like I don't know what's happening or why people aren't going. Maybe school's
Well,
just kicking people's butts. I don't know.
it could be. I mean, we're in November. I don't know, maybe. I don't know, man. And it could be, basketball for when I got there, it was the tail end of them being really good. And not that we weren't a good team while we were there, but we weren't ever, competing for a Mountain West championship, unfortunately. I
Right.
think Sundance Wicks and this team are dark horses for a Mountain West championship. Now, obviously, I've probably got the sled way ahead of the horse here because we haven't really played anybody just yet. Obviously, we played Portland and we played some other smaller teams, but you look at the statistics for this team, we're third in the Mountain West in scoring, fifth in defense, rebounding, we're number one in the Mountain West. I one knock against us, we are the least efficient or um, no, we're the best 3-point defensive team. So we allow the least shooters, but we are almost last in free throw percentage. Guys, if our worst metric is from the charity stripe, that's something you can coach up and work on a lot and get it a lot better. So I think this team's going to be really good.
I think that once we play more teams that are in whether it's a different conference or they're doing really well or just have, like, legacy attached to their names, right? Just great coaching, great recruiting, great players, and win some of those games, I think people will start to take it a little bit more seriously. I think that's just my hypothesis is that we need to beat schools that are even better to be taken a little bit more seriously. And then hopefully when that does happen, the free throw percentage improves because in close games and good teams, you're gonna have to knock those out. You're gonna have to knock
Yep.
those out for sure.
Shout out to Cam Hassler, a former student of ours. He's actually a basketball manager for the Wyoming Cowboys now. So shout out Cam. I want to shout out Demarion Dennis, currently averaging 13 points per game for the Cowboys. That is 17th best in the Mountain West. We have a really well-rounded team. We don't have anybody like who's our true number one scorer. They spread it around a lot. We actually had 12 Wyoming Cowboys score in the last game against Portland, so that was awesome. But that's all I got. How about you?
So a guy that I watched a lot, that I was friends with, he used to be on the team, Hunter Maldonado. He's been with OKC. I think if I look here now, he's playing with I think he's playing with or he was a guard with Phoenix.
Hmm.
Hunter's awesome. He was always fun to watch. There was a couple of other guys too, but he was somebody I talked to probably the most, and he was outstanding. Um, and so I just want to shout him out because I know a lot of guys they still keep up with Wyoming hoops. So hopefully this finds him somewhere.
Absolutely.
So, volleyball, y'all know how I feel about Cowgirls Volleyball. Officially qualified for Mountain West Championship. I think that when you have success in these areas, I don't know, I have this thing where, again, when I went to the Cowgirls Volleyball game, I felt like it always should have been more people there, and whether we're mid-season, beginning, and I just always felt like more people should be there. I used to talk to some of the girls about it, and the student section was something that was started to become notable the longer I was there. And for those of you who have been to the volleyball games, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about with the student section. It started to get really crazy. And so when I look at how successful, or at least how much the program has grown, I can only imagine what the actual in-person games look like. That's one of the first things that I think about. And so being able to now put themselves in a position where they can get a little bit more recognition. I think it's not just a this season thing. It's gonna carry over into the next couple seasons. Shout out to the Cowgirls, Wyoming Cowgirls Volleyball. Shout out to the organization. Shout out to the people, the managers, the trainers. Just shout out to everybody because their season, it's a long season. See, they battled through a lot of injuries that it's hard to, like, because it's not like a contact sport. I've seen this before where people just kind of, I don't know how to explain it. I've seen it where in a non-contact sport, people don't understand how much the athlete's body is still breaking down. And so I've just seen it firsthand with volleyball that it is not pretty behind the scenes. And so just shout out to everybody involved with Cowgirls Volleyball. I encourage people to continue to support, go out, show up. They also do the same things with, the thing where I didn't bring it up earlier actually, but when you go back to basketball, fourth quarter, if the opposing team misses 2 free throws, at the time, it was like you get, like, a free hot dog or burger at, like, Freddy's. It's always like when, teams did stuff like that, and I know, volleyball, they do a lot of cool stuff like that too to engage the fan, and so,
Mm.
yeah, so just shout out to them. You had a couch question of the week for me
Yep, I
that
do. So
that
I've
you've
been
been
sitting
sitting
on
on. You've been waiting.
this one for a while. Shout out to my uncle-in-law, Robbie Ring. He submitted this one. I'm not kidding you, probably 6 weeks ago, and he's texted me just about every week and said, "Still haven't done it." And so, my question for you is: Josh Allen the best athlete to ever come out of the University of Wyoming?
Okay. So, best is can mean a lot of different things. So, we have to first talk about what do we mean best, right? Look at the question. Best athlete, you know,
Because you could
one we
say
have to
best
think
college
about.
athlete, best professional athlete, best human. Yeah.
So, I think when you look at both from a physical standpoint, like an athletic standpoint, right? The attention brought to the university. Also, I'm trying my hardest not to be biased, but I feel like it's just hard to argue at this point in time somebody other than Josh. I mean, I also think about Bryce Meredith. He's somebody that has done a lot, both at the university level and then professionally too. But man, I gotta go Josh. I gotta go Josh. Think if for anybody who doesn't know what I mean from an athletic standpoint, right? Because if we say best athlete, we have to think about physical ability. If you see him in person, he is a big guy. He's like 5'6", and he moves. He's deceivingly really fast. Like if you watch his games and watch him play, he has a lot of rushing touchdowns for a reason. He can run. He's a big guy. He can run. On top of all of that, he's extremely athletic. He's been hurdling people, he's running people over, he's catching passes, he's throwing passes, and I have some other friends that have been in the NFL at the same time as him are still playing with him that would say, like, tell us how guys are talking about him in the league. A lot of people there's some people that are like, I'm not gonna call anybody scared, but definitely it's one of those situations where it's like, "Hey, we're playing the Bills. You know what type of we have to prepare a little extra harder than we normally do." So, I don't
I
know,
wouldn't wanna hit him.
like, you see him running at you, and you think, "Okay, this would be an easy tackle," but he's very agile, elusive for his
Yep.
size. He
Or he'll
can
jump
jump
over
over
you.
you, he can run you over, he can outrun you. I'm telling you, it's actually pretty crazy to watch because on TV, you can kinda see it, but when you see him in person and then see him do it in the game, you're like, "Whoa."
Yeah, you're like, "How?" Well, you
Yeah, I
remember
don't
his
know,
rookie
man.
year, he wasn't playing that good, but he didn't really have much of an offense around him. They were a really good defensive team, Bills, that first year. I just remember him hurdling that Vikings linebacker.
Yeah,
Was it Burr? I think it
I
was
think s
Burr.
I don't
Anyway,
remember.
he hurdled him, and everybody was just like, "Holy cow, what?" And all of us Wyoming fans were like, "Yeah, we know. Like he's been doing this stuff for a while now." So that was really cool. For me, man, I'm gonna go controversial and fans. I'm repping the 17th. Josh Allen is the most impactful athlete to come out of the University of Wyoming as far as impact on the University of Wyoming. He's brought they've literally done studies on it, millions of dollars to the state of Wyoming. He shouts out the state of Wyoming all the time. As far as the best athlete to come out of the University of Wyoming, I think I got to go with Kenny Sailors.
Mm,
I think I got to go with Kenny. Just because when you get credited for creating the jump shot, and then if you also look at his accolades, like he won an NCAA championship, he just had all these different pure college accolades. So if you look at it from like a college athlete standpoint, obviously times are very different than when Kenny Sailor's playing, when Josh played. But it's a little controversial there, but I got to go with Kenny Sailors. And fans, I love Josh. This is not me talking smack on Josh at all.
I mean, yeah, he didn't invent the jump shot. You got that right.
He didn't invent the jump.
That's pretty crazy. That was a pretty fun question. Do you got any final thoughts for us, man, as we close out?
No, no, I think I'm good, man. I'm super excited for you guys to go to the game. I hope you guys and Elijah fantastic time. Hopefully you guys get to chat with Josh. Hopefully you guys get to just see everybody there. And yeah, noon game for the fans back home. I don't have to tell you to get to this one because it's been sold out for a while. So if you don't have a ticket, there might be standing room only tickets from what I heard, but that's about it. So it'll be interesting.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you all for tuning again and riding with us through the season. 13 episodes. It's been fun, man. I'm really appreciative for everybody that's been supporting and reaching out. I'm always amazed and surprised who's actually watching. Almost everywhere I've went, I've had somebody that's like, I've saw a clip or yeah, I watched the episode or something like that. So just shout out to people
It's
who
awesome.
are actually checking it out and following us and engaging with us. Being able to just talk a little ball and Wyoming activities and just teaching people too, because there's a lot of people that's learning stuff. A lot of people who are learning things from this podcast, whether it's just unfamiliar with Wyoming culture or unfamiliar with football or. So I just want to give a big thank you to everybody and that it's been a fun season. And I can't wait to have another great episode next week.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you're not already, follow us on social media. We've got the Couch Experts podcast pretty much everywhere. Jamari's getting a lot of good content out there. And then we always record usually on Sundays, and then episodes come out usually every Wednesday. Well, actually, every Wednesday at 6 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're up at 4 a.m. Mountain time, you can always go ahead and start it out right away if that's how you want to start your day with both Jamari and I's lovely voices. So, yeah, we appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey, all I have for you all is, hey, go Pokes, Powder River.
Let her buck. Go Pokes. See you guys.